We are live.
Hello, my friend. A little bit of Greek. I like it.
Well, it seems as you're getting ready to go on holiday, thought
Yeah.
might as well play a little party version.
Love that, mate.
So just checking, we're going live. We are. So Andy's got a family holiday in T minus 59 minutes. So we got to cut this one quick to keep Mrs. Demi happy, right?
Absolutely. Otherwise, I'm a dead man, and this will be the last time you hear from me.
Okay, so this is a question, a valid question. Who's the one that's on time and has done the packing and planned the route and everything?
It's definitely not me, mate. I did my packing about 45 minutes ago.
And when did Mrs. Demi start packing?
She was criticising me for it.
That's so funny. Whenever I used to go away with my family, I always remember as a kid, my old man would be packing like a week in advance. Gavin, have you packed yet? Gavin, have you packed yet? No, Dad. And you're like leaving it to the last minute.
I literally went in my drawer. Just, that'll do. Stick him in there and he's done.
Mate, I used to live, like many lifetimes ago, I used to live in Weymouth. Long story. But, mate, I think they check and see if they've still got a Fat Willie's Surf Shack. Do you remember those guys?
No. There is a really nice Radizio restaurant, apparently, which I'm going to go to.
Fat Willie's is not. You don't put them in your mouth, mate. Don't worry. It's an item of clothing, like hats.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Please find out if they've still got a Fat Willie's Surf Shack, because was the rage.
I will have a look for it. If I find it, I will post it in the group.
Please do. Everybody loves a bit of Fat Willie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just sipping on my mushroom tea. Have you got your drink today?
Mushroom tea? What the hell is that?
An adaptogenic tea. See, look, this is the beauty of cryptos and investing and trading, where two people who would normally be arch enemies, because of the football teams we support, we come together through a commonality, not just investing and trying to make money, but that we both used to own Fat Willie's t-shirts. There we go. It's a small world.
I thought you were going to say something about the mushroom tea.
No, that would be too classy. Let's keep it Fat Willie's, please. So thank you very much to Kevin for owning up that he also used to go to Fat Willie's Surf Shack. Which part of the country did you get your tea from? Mushroom tea, does it give you magic powers, Gavin? Well, it's an adaptogenic tea.
What does adaptogenic tea mean?
So the long and short
you come up with these fancy words, but simple people like me, they don't understand them.
An adaptogen means that if you, like, for stress, or if you're feeling ill or run down, or if you've got sore muscles or you need more energy, mushroom is an adaptogenic. So it means that whatever your body needs, a little bit of it will go and work on what your body needs, and your body will be different to my body because everybody's body is different. The days where we say, well, we all do this, we all do a green juice because green juice is healthy for us. Everybody's body's different. So it's about listening to our own bodies and seeing what our individual body needs. So that's kind of like the short version. And Kevin's a lot more classy. He got his from Newquay. Mine was from Weymouth. Although I think I got a cap from Newquay as well. So look, we haven't got much time. Going to do a few shout outs just to get the show rolling and the ball rolling. Afternoon all from Nicholas, who's tuning in live on YouTube. And our first comment of the day, Yanis, who's also tuning in live on YouTube, I believe from Cyprus. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we've also got Andy, one of our regulars, tuning in on good normal old-fashioned Facebook. Good to have you with us, everyone. Just another sip of my tea, and let's get cracking. So, portfolio management. You did a video on it a few days ago, and obviously there was a few questions in there, and maybe some people got to see it, some people didn't. I think it's a really important topic, so I wanted to kind of give you a bit more time to expand on it now, and just let us know why did you decide to post a video on that topic?
Yeah, portfolio management, I think, is is one of the most important ways of active ways of growing your account without necessarily using leverage. So you've got one way is using leverage. So you can basically borrow some funds. It means you've got a bigger position size, and if the market does indeed go your way, then you end up making more money. But of course, as we know, if you leverage and you over leverage and the market crashes way more than you ever anticipated, your positions are at risk. So that kind of carries a risk. If you do portfolio management well, you can do it with spot in a very, very smart way without ever having to do leverage if you're not comfortable with it. Now, how does that work? Well, let's say you start from today and you don't have a portfolio and you build a portfolio up. So you put a certain amount of money in the mega cap cryptos. So like Ethereum and Bitcoin and Cardano are the top three. And then you put, let's say, a percentage in the established crypto coins, but they've still got a lot of room to go, right? So a lot of the rest, let's say. And then you've got like the really tiny ones that have got a lot of potential, that are still in their infancy, that haven't really exploded yet, right? And their market cap is very, very low. The thing is that by doing it that way, you can have a little bit of coins that might, one day absolutely explode. And I was talking about it, I think a couple of weeks ago, about Luna, which was, last year was 13 cents. It's now $35, and a $5,000 investment would have made you about 1.2, 1.3 million. So, that's a good example. Now, let's say even if you did $500 in Luna at the time, you're still looking at sort of a six-figure return. And that's the power of it. And the thing is, there's a lot of examples like this. And so I like to have a high risk part of my portfolio, but I don't want it to be a big part of my account, because I'm planning, this is a pot that I'm planning to grow in a safe manner. And obviously the projects that are like Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other established products, they're going to be safer, right? They're going to be safer. So I think it's just having a balance. I'll add one more thing, which is a slight variation of what I'm saying here. So that's the portfolio management from the outset, where you do an allocation, and any fund manager does that for you when you go and invest money. So if anybody's ever used a financial advisor, they will literally ask you a certain amount of question. How do you want high risk, low risk, medium risk? And they'll put you in some bonds if you're low risk, and they'll put you in some high risk stocks if you're high risk, right? And something in the middle. That's what a financial advisor generally does when you're building a portfolio. And we should do the same in cryptos or any investment that you make. But the other side of it is something different, and that is portfolio management also can be once your portfolio is actually up and running. So if with an equal standing, if you invested, for example, in a mega cap like Cardano, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, and we put $10,000 in each one, and Ethereum goes up to 11,000, so you've made 1,000 on that one. Bitcoin goes up to 11,000, but Cardano's exploded, and that one has actually tripled. So you're now sitting on 30K in Cardano, only 11 on Ethereum, only 11 in Bitcoin. I would strongly consider at that point, looking at the chart and doing the analysis, I would really strongly consider taking a lot of those gains, if not all of the gains, and putting them into the other two, for if it's right. So it's like the way you want to look at this is like, well, with this amount of money, if I'm not borrowing any more, would my money be working better for me over there, or would it be working better over here? Like if I was going to start again, where would I put my money? And that's kind of the thing that I do quite a bit. And sometimes I've actually done a video, I'm posting it on Thursday, but sometimes I will get rid of a coin that I really believe in, because it's gone parabolic, and it doesn't really make sense right now to hold it when I could put it somewhere else that I think is going to make me more money. So there's kind of two sides to portfolio management, but I think it's a real critical skill to master if you want to grow your account a bit more actively rather than just hodling, as they say.
And just to say a few more shout outs, especially to our Aussie friends, Nick, who's also on the Gold Coast. Big shout out to Nick. He's saying, wow, that's a great idea. And that's why you tune in, my friend. That's why you tune in, to get the Demi Golden Nuggets. I'm also going to say a big shout out to Anita, who's tuning in as well. Great to have you with us. So we've covered portfolio management in a bit more depth. And obviously there's so much more that we could go into. But I want to give us enough time to cover the other points in the show. And one thing, like I know people that are investing in cryptos in America, they're based in America. There's people obviously in Australia, there's you guys in the UK, and everywhere in between around the world. And one thing that is definitely a uniting factor for most people is nobody has a bloody Scooby-Doo where things stand with taxes. Can you take stuff out? Even if you cash out from your exchange, so say you made that 30 grand in ADA, and then you cashed out and you needed to put it back into Bitcoin, would you get taxed? Well, it depends what country you're in, what state you're in of countries sometimes. Nobody has the foggiest. And obviously, when you're kind of pioneering this, it's going to be a bit foggy, which has its good points and its bad points. So what I wanted to ask you was, as a professional trader, obviously just based in the UK, and as we say all the time, do your own research, guys. But with that being said, what have you managed to find out from your people with regards to taxes? And I don't expect you to be able to answer it for everybody in the world, but maybe just for the UK, we could start with.
Yeah, you have to look at your own jurisdiction. But like in the UK, you know, it is taxable now. You know, the HMRC has released guidelines as to how that works. Look, if you are in the trading side is the complicated bit. If you're investing, it's not that complicated actually. Essentially, if you are investing for yourself, you'll just be liable to pay income tax and capital gains tax, depending on how your money is paid to you, whether it's in dividends or whether it's in gains. But if you're trading, it becomes a bit more complicated. Like you said, when you close a position, supposedly you're getting taxed on that. I don't know. I mean, on the trading side, I mean, what I'm personally doing to combat all of this is I have set up a company now, and I'm investing under the company, and I'm going to be paying corporation tax. And I also have my trading account separate. So the reality is that the biggest gains are going to come from the investments if these cryptocurrencies go the way that I'm expecting them to go over the next 4 or 5 years, because that's passive and it's compounding. So with trading, I'm using that really to fund my spot, to grow my investment more. So I've separated it out, and it just makes it easier. So if it comes to it, then the tax implications of my trading account might be viewed slightly differently. It's not something that's concerning me right now. The biggest thing for me was to put my investments under a company to make sure that I was paying corporation tax, which is what I've done now. Now, there are jurisdictions where you don't pay tax at the moment. So, for example, Hong Kong, I found out the other day, is one of those jurisdictions. So there are a few people that have set up offshore, but my view kind of offshore is you can set up offshore, you can structure something offshore where you make money and that jurisdiction doesn't charge you tax. But then I guess my question is then how do you use that money when you don't live there? How do you actually take it out? It doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it's way beyond my knowledge. There might be ways that you can do it, but I just don't think it's worth. Like I always believe, pay your taxes and you'll be fine. And yes, you can do clever things, and people do. And I guess the clever thing in this case is just use a company and pay corporation tax. That's perfectly legal. And also you can expense like anything, in fact, like your education. You could put your education, your computers, your general costs. You can even pay yourself a small salary, and then you pay corporation tax in the UK, which is currently 19%. It's going to be 23%, but overall you'd end up paying about 20%. So if you made $1 million, you paid 200 grand, it's not really the end of the world. So
interesting. So we've got a few questions. Kevin saying, is that an LLC that you set up?
Yeah, I've set it up as a limited company. Yeah.
Okay. And then Andy's saying, I was thinking about setting up a company to do this also, but need to do more research. It's definitely an interesting topic. We've got Zach as well, who's saying, I think you're based in Asia, aren't you, Zach, anyway? But you're saying, I have no choice now. US tax law sucks, with a capital S, sucks. Yeah, and that's what I've been hearing a lot from people stateside, is that per state now, there's so much confusion. It's ridiculous. But that's definitely an interesting one that you were saying about how you've done it. Nick's saying that apparently if you go the foreign offshore route, the foreign company sends you an invoice, which is interesting to say the least. So yeah. And then Facebook user, please identify yourself. Register for the StreamYard link, which is at the bottom of this link on the page. How do you pay tax on an investment that's not been closed and still moving up and down? It's a great question. And my take on it, because this is where everybody's take's different, I would ask you, who's just asked this Facebook user, what's your current interpretation? Because guaranteed most people will have a different interpretation. If you've invested in spot at 1,500 and it's gone up to 1,800 and you've closed it and you've made a profit on it, therefore that could be deemed as a taxable event. But if you leave it inside the exchange, there's an argument that actually it's not a profit if you're then putting it into another investment. And this is where the gray area is. Yeah,
that's the gray, and that's what the accountants are there for, to do that. Like, to read the rules, and you need an accountant. It's really that simple. We're not accountants, and we're just trying to make sure that we maximize our gains in a safe way, so that the last thing you want to do is like make a load of money in the next 5-10 years and then realize you've got to give half of it away, or even worse, to be honest, this is worse, where you make a load of money, you don't pay any taxes, and then you get caught and you go to jail. Because there's tax avoidance, financial crimes are punished more than murder in countries like the UK. So you've got to be really careful, and it's just not worth the risk. We can be grateful, and to be honest, we can be grateful with what we make and we pay our taxes, and it's that simple. Do I agree with a lot with it? Not as much, because before it wasn't taxable and now it is, which is another interesting one. So what happens to gains that happened before the HMRC announced that it would be taxed? What happens to that? So people that made millions and millions on Bitcoin, it was a scam before, apparently.
So yeah, if this is a scam, yet it's a taxable event, what does that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Before it was
Yeah.
a scam, now
I'm
it's
just
not a
connecting
scam
the
because
dots.
money can be made.
Yeah.
That's how it is, unfortunately.
Context, my friend. Context is everything, isn't it? It's it's a really, really interesting subject. And like Andy said, if you've ever seen me trying to add up basic numbers on the show, you'll know by sure I'm not an accountant, and neither is Mr. Demi. So definitely get some good tax advice. One thing that springs to mind when you say about setting up your company, does that cover you for investments that you've made before the company was set up, or is that only post inception of the company? Like, so
Well, there are ways that you can do it. So again, this is what my accountant advised, that you can loan the company the money that you've made, or that kind of thing. So I don't know enough about it, but that the accountant is taking care of it basically. But yeah, you can do a loan to the company, and essentially, it's just some clever ways of not being taxed for those gains. But I don't know enough. But we'll pay whatever tax is necessary to be safe. But yeah, I'd always recommend that you get an accountant and maybe like a second opinion. That's what I'm doing. I'm kind of looking at a friend's accountant and my own accountant.
Makes sense.
Because it's a new space and people are not always, that familiar with it.
Yeah, and it's important. And I think every few months we'll just keep checking in, because there'll probably be something new that comes around. There'll be new loopholes, but there'll be new laws that come in as well. So I think it will definitely swing in roundabouts depending upon where you are in the world. And this crypto thing is such a universal worldwide thing now that there's just no escaping it. It's a juggernaut that's catching speed by the hour. Now, so we've covered portfolio management. We've covered taxes. One thing I really wanted to bring people's attention to, because there's a lot of people that don't know this, but every month for our crypto students, we do a live masterclass event where they get 3 hours with you. So if you think this is good for the 15-20 minutes that we spend breaking this down, Andy goes through the markets live, and you give specific breakdowns. And I know I saw that you posted one for a crypto, and it doubled within a few hours. So I'd really love for the people that don't get to come on the live masterclasses to actually go hunting for trades with you. I just want to give them a bit of a glimpse of what is actually possible, because I know there's probably people watching this that are like, okay, cryptos, I'm still not sure. Is it really producing the gains that people are talking about? And this is, I mean, I know you've got more than one from this last weekend's masterclass that happened, but again, we're pushed for time, so we'll try and spend as much time as we can on this, just to show you guys what's possible.
Let me do a screen share. So I'll bring in my trading view. That's it. Yeah. So this is this is the one that I was we were looking at, and this is a perfect example of a cryptocurrency that you might have been sitting in for quite a while. It wasn't really doing much. And this is why patience is so important. I basically bought some of this around here at 250, and I held it. And we were looking at this on the last masterclass, and I was basically talking about this as a good long-term investment. And and we kind of finished the masterclass. And if you look at what's been happening here, really, it's from a charting point of view, not a tremendous amount, but it had really great fundamentals, a really good solid project. And I think this has got a lot more upside to it, a lot more upside. And when you can kind of marry the two, when you can do fundamentals with the technicals, it allows you to be patient. So, nothing was really happening, but we kept the trade open, and I couldn't believe my eyes, honestly, Gav. Like, I mean, I was expecting this to go higher, but within an hour, it I mean, it came back down since then, but from the time I've entered it, it's still like nearly a 3x. And it's only like a month and a half. But it was even more. I mean, I mean, within an hour, it tripled.
I couldn't even see that spike. There's a spike. In case your screen's not showing it, make sure you kind of, just zoom in a little bit more and show the spike, because I've only just caught that now on my screen. So it actually went up to $11. Wow.
It went up to here, yeah. And obviously, you know, it's overshot. Now, part of, like, again, part of portfolio management here is, this is a good example of what we were saying before. So what you could have done if you were in this trade is you could have said, look, this is kind of parabolic. Like, once you've doubled to $8, for example, from 4, you can start to think about, if you had a sizable position on this, you might think about saying, actually, do you know what? Maybe I'm going to take some off the table here and then put it somewhere else, or buy it a little bit cheaper. So, you know, I'll be honest with this one. I took 25% off. Normally I would consider taking a bit more off, but I was actually planning on accumulating more. So I've got a good position size on this, but I was planning on accumulating a bit more. And so I thought, well, I don't want to take 50% off. I'll take 25% off. And if I can get a good price, I'm going to look to rebuy. So even where we are right now, it's actually not a bad price at all. If I show you what we've done, we've basically broken resistance.
Well, it's just doing a classic Andy Demi technical analysis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Previous resistance broken.
Now resistance becomes future support. We're basically there now. So I could reaccumulate my 25% basically here, and I would be better off. And this is the kind of stuff that I do quite a bit. So I trade, but this bit I do quite a lot, and I'm quite active in managing my trades this way. So, and it takes a little bit of organization, because obviously if you're, you know, I regularly review my position size for each crypto. So I will have, for example, let's say the micro trades might be, okay, I want to have $1,000 in the micro ones, and the medium sized ones, maybe you want to have 2.5, and the big ones, maybe you want to have 10, and then the bigger ones, you might have 15, whatever it is. That do the numbers yourself, like $100, 500, 1,000. And so I know, okay, Cello fits in the medium category. So I will say, okay, so overall I need to have at least, you know, say $5,000 in it, for me, for my account size. So I will regularly check and say, right, okay, how much have I got in this? And I'll make notes and I'll put alerts in. Okay, let's put some alerts. When the price goes a little bit lower, I need to reaccumulate to build it up to that $5,000. Like if I've taken some profit, if that makes any sense. So, you know, and I'm often like saying, okay, well, this is pumped. I've got that 25%. I'll put my alerts in, but now I've got that extra money. I can go and put it somewhere else as well. And then when this is ready, I might have closed some other ones and I'll go and put it back into this. And I always keep spare cash. I don't use all of it up. And even if you didn't, you can use a little bit of margin to help you out if you need it. So that's the beauty of like these exchanges. You can just go and borrow a little bit, just if something's imminent to go, and then just pay it back and just go back into spot. So for most people, they're probably not going to want to be this active, but I am, because I'm looking to grow my account as proactively as possible without necessarily taking on too much risk. So the only thing that's happening is my time. But again, I'm not in front of my screens, guys. Like, I'm putting an alert. So I actually did get an alert for this. I put an alert here. It popped off, and I knew that the price had come back to a potential buy zone. So I know I can reaccumulate a little bit here again. And I came out at 9. It went a bit higher, and now I can buy back again around this sort of 630, 640. And it's not a lot, but it really adds up, because you've now got the same position size as before, but you've got a little bit of extra dollars that can go somewhere else. And maybe you'll go and buy a little micro account little micro one that's $300-400, and suddenly that explodes, and that's how I'm basically growing my account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, smart. Well, not just for me, but guys, let us know if it makes sense. Obviously, the ones tuning in live, the ones watching on the replay, unfortunately, you can't. But them's are the breaks.
I'll just say one more thing. We did an unbelievable trade in the masterclass. I will see if I can we can find that trade. But basically, one of the other key things about growing the account in a safe way is really timing your entries. I don't know if I have it here. Obviously the masterclass is recorded. For those people that were on it, I know that we literally got the spike perfectly, and so it was I don't have the exact position size. I can't remember. What day was it? Was it last week?
Saturday.
Thursday. What was any idea? Was it? Was it Saturday? It was Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Saturday the 28th, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, 28th. Mate, like we were saying yesterday, it's freaking September already tomorrow. I don't even know how we've got there. So let alone what the date was last weekend. But apparently it was 28th.
Okay. So, yeah, it was this one. So it's not so clear here, but we did a whole load of analysis, had all our lines in, and we literally said, right, okay, I think it's going to stop here, 47,800. And actually, if you put the perpetuities, what we bought, it went there exactly to 47,805. It bounced and then went straight up to target and came out, and then the market went down. I mean, and when you look at this, you think, oh, there's no opportunity. But when you do that level of analysis, that level of detail, you pinpoint those areas, you get in at the right price, and you get out at the right price, and you're making a really high reward to risk trade. So you're making a lot for the risk because you're timing the market. Somebody posted yesterday, I think Kevin, I don't know if you're here, Kevin, like he timed the market perfectly. He took a trade in Bitcoin, and he posted it in the private group, I think. And he said, look, normally, Kevin's here, I think, so normally he would just jump into stuff, but he's by kind of taking a more patient approach and just waiting like the way I wait, he was able to get the right price and get out at the right price. And Kevin, if you're here, like you might want to share, like what a difference that makes, right? When you do your analysis, you do your levels, you're confident, and then you are patient and you wait and you let the market come to you. And you caught a really nice trade in a market that really, for most of the untrained people, if you look at it, you think, well, where's the opportunity? Look at that chart. But I know the level of detail you would have gone to find that trade. That makes the difference. So it's like, we get into that world of like, okay, let's do our lines, let's find our confluences. Right. It has to come here or nothing. That's what we say. That's how we trade. It has to come to my price or there's no trade. And by doing that, you're getting at the right price. And luck is always on your side when you do that. When you're patient, luck is always on your side. Like more often than not, it spiked into my target and then it goes the other way. Whereas if I was a little bit unlucky, it could have spiked and missed me, right? But it just somehow by doing the right things, you just seem to get luckier. That's my experience anyway.
Awesome. And Kevin is on and he's saying, made a huge difference. Patience is the key. Don't FOMO. My fellow Fat Willie alumni, great to see you doing well, my friend. So to finish the show, let's jump into a little bit of Bitcoin analysis and see what's likely to happen from the next 7 hours to the next 7 days, just while you're doing that. It's one of our students. He said, Dan, I missed the masterclass. Is there a replay somewhere? If you're still a student and you've got access to them, well, you're a student, but if you've still got access to them, then you would have got the replay. So yeah, maybe we can speak about that with you afterwards, because we are trying to find a way to make them more available to people, because there's just so much gold in this. So guys, watch this space, because we're going to try and make it more open to more people, like we said, because this really needs to get out to more people, and the more people we can help in the group, the better. So with that being said, you just want to do
Yeah, I'll do a quick breakdown. So look, the reality is right now, the market sentiment is mixed. So from a fundamental point of view, it's the signs are bullish from a fundamental point of view. If you kind of do some on-chain metrics, you can see money's moving from the exchanges, which normally means that people are storing Bitcoin. However, that doesn't always tell the whole truth, because there's a lot of there's a lot of ways that, if you're a whale, there's a lot of ways of like dumping your positions and buying them cheaper later without us ever knowing about it. You can do it privately. That happens a lot. So the metrics aren't always telling, but I do always believe in the charts and following the charts. And what I quite like at the moment, I mean, look, if you look at it from one point of view, let me just show you something that I don't know if this is the right, I was doing it on my PC, but let me see if this is the right chart that I wanted to show. Yeah, so from one point of view, we have this outer support line, and the market basically.
Sorry, I can't see your screen.
Ah, right. Apologies.
And I've learned now to just say it straight away.
There you go. Right. So sorry about that, guys. So as I was saying, the metrics look bullish, but if I look at this support line here, I saw this morning that this had broken, but I wasn't. I mean, of course, anything can happen, but I wasn't thinking, oh man, that's really bearish. And I don't know why. Like, I actually think the price action in general has actually been quite bullish. Why? Because if you guys recall, we've been talking about 50,000 to 52,000 for a number of weeks, not just since it's happened, but way before that, when it was at 40, 45, we were saying 50K to 52K is really important. This is where we're going to really see what Bitcoin's made of. Is it ready to break its all-time highs, or is that going to be where we end the story and the market goes back, and that's how we kind of see out the year? Now, we've reached the 50,000, right? And we're not the only ones that have been talking about 50,000. There are probably a lot of other people, influencers, that have been talking about 50,000, I'm sure, because it's a technical level from a charting point of view and also a psychological point of view. But here's the thing that I've noticed so far, and I say so far because I know cryptos have a way of, really embarrassing us. But in general, I like to think that we're pretty good at analyzing what's going to happen. But the reality is that so far, we've reached this critical level that everybody's known about, but yet the market hasn't really fallen. It's stayed up there like a pain in the backside. It's just there, right? It's like, well, we've got this resistance, but it's not pushing down. Like, it's pushing down, but it's just staying there. That's the kind, and I'm going to say typically, that's the kind of price action you see before a breakout higher. Now, as I said, that doesn't mean that it's not going to go down. It can, and any tweak can create the markets to go down. But purely from what I see right now, even though we had this break, and I look at this daily chart, this price action right now is bullish. This is very, very strong price action. This is the tricky part. We're at resistance. My anticipation is we are going to break higher. But it's almost like it's like you're about to break a brick wall with your hand, and you just need a little bit of energy to do it. And that's what it feels like to me. Now, as I said, I could be wrong. I haven't reduced my position size in Bitcoin. So I've spoken about before portfolio management, moving money from one to the other. I have not reduced my position in Bitcoin. What I have done is I have reduced my position in Cardano, and I've increased my position in Ethereum. Because, as I said before, these ones have got they haven't exploded higher the way that Cardano has. Now, I love Cardano as a project. I think it's got a great long-term future, but it's hit nearly $3 and it almost needs a rest. So I think, again, I could be wrong, but my money is better spent in these cryptocurrencies. And I didn't want to reduce my Bitcoin position size because I think we will ultimately break higher. And even if we do pull back, I don't believe we're going to pull back to a point where we are anywhere near this level anymore. If we pull back, I think we're looking at this little purple line that I've drawn in here. I think that is your maximum pullback. And you want to kind of look at this channel line there and say, if this market does indeed pull back, this is an amazing buy zone. And believe me, I will be adding to my position size if we got that lucky. And that's all I would need to say, I think.
Perfect. Great stuff. Well, look, guys, again, thank you to Mr. Demi for dropping the knowledge bombs. We've packed as much as we can into this time. So thank you very much for joining us on the live. If you are watching the replay, glad to have you with us. And hopefully you've got as much knowledge out of this as the people that were on the live. So look, we are going to be, well, Andy's going away now for a few days to get some much needed R&R with the family and the newborn. So we will obviously be doing, apparently people can't hear me.
No, I can hear you, mate.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I can.
Someone's winding me up. I fell for it. Damn it. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll be around. We'll still be doing stuff. We'll still be doing content. But we'll be back for our next live event next Monday, which is our Crypto Like a Pro show, talking all things FX. Same time, same place. So midday BST if you're in the UK, 9 p.m. AEST. And you'll get a notification in the Facebook group. Is there anything you want to say before we bounce, mate?
No, guys. I will be, like Gavin said, we'll still be sending you guys some content to keep you learning and moving forward. But hopefully I'm going to come back refreshed and ready to take it to another level. But just keep trading well, keep the discipline, keep the patience, and keep doing the right things, and you will be rewarded in the end. But thanks for being here, guys, and look forward to seeing you guys next week again.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Le genti che passeranno, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao.